Story 1. My mom is beautiful. Always has been. She was popular in high school and college, life of the party, belle of the ball kind of thing. My dad, on the other hand, looks like Mr. Miyagi with a touch of King Kong. I look like my dad. My younger sister looks like my mom. High school was tough. Story 2. Every family member in the last 2 generations who has lived past the age of 50 has died of cancer, plus my 14-year-old brother. Thanks, genetics. I'm so looking forward to my 60s. Story 3. Teeth. My mom had absolutely perfect teeth. Never even had a cavity in her life. When we would eat popcorn, she would munch on the unpopped kernels, like her teeth were made of steel. My dad had full dentures by the time I was born. My teeth are not great. I landed somewhere in the middle in that I still have most of my teeth, but lots of crowns, a few root canals, plenty of fillings, and 1 implant so far. Story 4. Obsessive-compulsive disorder. My dad's mom was a hoarder, and so was my mom's mom. I thought that's all there was to it until I got diagnosed, and then my mom was like, "Oh yeah, mom had that." She used to start checking the stove at 11 a.m. and checked it repeatedly until 11 p.m. By the way, hoarding is a manifestation of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Didn't Mama do that too? I just thought they both had residual habits from the Depression era, and Mom just came in like Paul Harvey with the rest of the story. Story 5. I got a rare eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa that nobody else in my family has. I made my parents take me to the doctor when I realized I couldn't see at night the way my friends could when I was around 13 years old. Turns out, the rods in my eyes are slowly dying, and I'm losing all my vision. I have less than 20% now at age 35. We found out my dad's cousin has it, too, but didn't even know because he didn't have the resources to see a doctor. Just threw his hands in the air and went blind. So yeah, I'd call that losing the genetic lottery in a way. Story 6. I have a very large torso and short limbs. My wingspan is 6 inches shorter than my height, and I have to lower the seat in a car all the way, or I can stick my head out the sunroof usually. Story 7. My dad was a redhead and left my life around 3 to 4 years old. I got his pasty, pale skin, and can't be in the sun for 5 minutes without getting a burn. Thanks, Dad. Story 8. Huntington's disease. My mom's father died from it a few years back, and my mom is getting worse by the day. My little brother and I both have a 50-50 chance of inheriting it as well. Testing is really expensive, and there's no developed cure for it yet. All I can do is wait and see. Story 9. I get way more earwax buildup than the regular person. So much so that it does not naturally clear itself out, leading to me waking up almost completely deaf every couple of weeks. The only way to fix it is to put mineral oil and hydrogen peroxide in my ears and lie on my side to let the oil soak into the wax to soften it up. The peroxide gets behind the wax and bubbles up to create enough of an opening between the wax and my ear canal that I can shoot water into it and clear out the wax. I usually wind up having a clump of wax come out of each ear that is about the size of a pencil eraser. Sometimes they get so clogged that it takes a couple of days of doing this over and over until I can clear out the wax. Story 10. My mom's side of the family had good genes. The men did not go bald. Almost everyone there is tall, has perfect eyesight, and doesn't seem to suffer from any stomach issues. My dad was the exact opposite, and his genes really showed my mom's genes no mercy. Story 11. I was not born genetically rich. Like, why do I have to work? Kidding. I was born with asthma. Of all the things I could be bad at, why is breathing one of them? Story 12. I have bipolar disorder, autism, attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, psoriasis, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I'm allergic to potentially everything. I might also have neurofibromatosis, and I have bald spots, astigmatism, and I'm 33 years old. I believe I did the world a favor by choosing not to reproduce. Oh, and I forgot I have gallbladder stones as well. Story 13. Thought I was genetically blessed when younger. Reached middle age and am collecting medical terms like I'm trying to win some contest. Multiple autoimmune disorders, progressive connective tissue disorder, a spine that won't behave, so now I rarely leave the couch, let alone the house. Story 14. I have one of my parents to blame for my teeth. After the baby teeth came out, The enamel on my teeth was less than normal teeth, so they just went bad no matter how well I took care of them. It has cost me over $10,000 to fix them finally, and now I only have the bottom front teeth that are my originals because everything else just deteriorated. I didn't do hard drugs, rarely drank sodas, brushed and flossed regularly. None of that mattered. It turns out your genes can affect you in seemingly small ways that turn into much larger problems down the line. I've never felt worse pain in my life than an abscess in my molar, and I've broken bones, had a hip replacement, and second to third degree burns. Take from that what you will. Story 15. Degenerative discs and stenosis in my spine. After I went to the doctor, my dad's family started telling me all about their issues one by one. My neurosurgeon I visited told me he has seen better backs in 60-year-olds. I'm Fetty. Story 16. BRCA gene mutation almost guarantees I will have breast cancer in my lifetime. We are doing in vitro fertilization to avoid passing it to our children, and I feel robbed of the baby-making experience. I wanted that hallmark positive pregnancy test, but will have surgical procedures and constant doctor's appointments instead. Story 17. Both my parents are anxious. I ended up with autism, Asperger's, ADHD, and anxiety disorder. Also, I'm stuck with a chubby body that doesn't want to get thinner. God damn it. Story 18. I'm 28 and my breasts have been the same size since I was 12. They just never really grew. At least I don't need to wear a bra. People tell me that I'm pretty all the time, though. However, I'm never going to get implants. Story 19. All manifesting at or before the age of 16. By the way, visual snow, extremely rare apparently. Chronic carpal tunnel. Irreparable nerve damage because of it. Super susceptible to repetitive motion injury. Concave spine. Debilitating attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder that makes it difficult for me to work without burning out significantly. Probably autism as well, but haven't been diagnosed. Less than a year is my record for a job so far. Even then, I was burning out a few months before the end, slowing down and doing less. Likely also doesn't help that working conditions and pay are pretty poor right now, and most jobs are unnecessary. They're just there to charge people money for things that should probably be free. Essential tremors. The most inflamed and severe case of dry eye my eye doctor has ever seen. It's chronic too. Difficulty processing depth perception when faced with certain patterns or gradients. Chain link fences or shiny railings can cause it, which once led to an injury. Probably more I can't remember. I lose track with all the issues I've got. But the worst part is, none of it individually is quite severe enough for me to see any benefits or compensation. It's just a lower quality of life with absolutely no support or help. I guess there's no system in place for people with lots of small issues leading to an overall poor experience. There are only systems for people with at least one significant issue leading to an overall poor experience. I don't know why nothing takes into account multiple compounding conditions. Story 20. Libido of a bonobo with the game of a monk. I also was cursed or blessed with a baby face. If I were to shave my head and my beard, I would look like a giant toddler. I guess it's not so bad sometimes. I can usually pass for 10 years younger. I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm starting to see the benefits. I just need to work on caring less and talk to women without fumbling so badly. Story 21. I got the stocky broad shoulders, cleft chin, and fast-growing body hair of my Scottish bloodline. This would be fine or even good if I was a dude. But I am not, so I'm not thrilled about it. Story 22. Short and balding. My parents are 5 feet 2.5 inches and 5 feet 6 inches. I'm probably 5 feet 4 inches or 5 feet 5 inches, but I don't want to know, so I just say 5 feet 6 inches. It's not honestly a huge deal, but you know. Story 23. I feel like I was not genetically blessed when it comes to hunger and satiety. My body seems wired to feel hungrier and less easily satisfied, probably due to how my hormones like ghrelin and leptin work. It is almost like my appetite runs on overdrive compared to others, which can make managing cravings or portion sizes more challenging. Also, unfortunately, not a lot of people understand that diet and exercise play a big role in your overall fitness, but you cannot outwork or outwill your hormones. Story 24. My shoulder bones don't curve. meaning my arms easily go out of socket. I was actually a really talented football player, but constantly got injured due to my shoulders. They didn't have harnesses back then to help keep them in place. I really could have gotten scholarship offers because I was so good, but genetics worked against me. Story 25. I won the genetic lottery on everything but my eyesight. I'm 41, and I can still just think about exercising to lose weight and put on muscle. 10 years in the army, and my knees are fine, my back doesn't hurt every day, and I collect zero disability, haha. 6 foot, blue eyes, no signs of any hair loss, and I can grow a full thick beard. I think I've had one zit, and that was during puberty. On top of all that, I carry the ABCC11 mutation, so my body doesn't produce the chemicals that cause body odor. I can't even smell bad. My eyesight, I am 41, and for 2 years already, I have had to take Zalatan latanoprost at night. I already have early glaucoma, and it is so bad that I will inevitably go blind unless there is some radical advance in treatment. Story 26. I have a rare genetic condition that causes tumors to grow in or on my body. My dad, brother, and uncle also have it. My granny had it. I'm the only one to get an even more rare, slow-growing brain cancer and have tumors that cause me pain. Story 27. I got the fat gene from my father's side. My mother's side are all tall and skinny. I only have to look at food and I put on a pound. I also got my stupid curly hair from his side. Story 28. That stupid second X chromosome. If it had been a Y, I wouldn't have had to medically transition. Producing enough of my own testosterone would save me from injecting it every week. Oh, and my genetic type of dystonia, which hasn't shown on any genetic tests, is very annoying too. I'm treated for it, but having the genetic confirmation would make my life easier. Story 29. I have a back problem that my great-aunt specifically added our last name to. We all have it, she said, as she was bent over at 80 degrees holding her cane. Story 30. I have issues with my left eye due to genetics. I can see out of it, but it's just a blurry, fuzzy mess. I was the child wandering around with a patch over my good eye, trying to force the weaker one to do more work. Unfortunately, that failed. My sister has it to a lesser extent, but most of her children were born with a lazy eye, and 2 of them actually had surgery to reposition the eyeball. My mom and dad were fine, so I guess they both carried a gene. Story 31. Ankylosing spondylitis and hypermobility, autism, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I just love to be a walking contradiction. Here, you have stiff joints that also move way past what they are supposed to, and you also have a brain that wants a very rigid routine while hating having a routine. Story 32. Neurofibromatosis and the many things that come with it, such as plexiform fibromas, cutaneous fibromas, seizures, migraines, dural low bone density, and chronic pain. Also, eczema, mild asthma, really high cholesterol for my age, and kidney stones. There are other things that I won't complain about yet. Story 33. I'm colorblind, but it gets more interesting than that. See, I am a transgender woman. That means I have XY chromosomes instead of XX. The colorblind gene is passed on the X chromosome, which is why it is more common in people with XY chromosomes, mostly men, since in an XX configuration, if there is only one faulty X chromosome, the other corrects the colorblindness. Following that logic, the one who gave me my colorblindness is my mother, since she is the one who gave me my X chromosome. However, my dad is colorblind, meaning that in an ideal world where I wasn't transgender and my father had given me his X chromosome instead of his Y, I would still be colorblind, since there would be no uncolorblind X chromosome to correct the genetic mistake. I know it's just hypothetical, but I find it funny that I was doomed to be colorblind either way. Story 34. My immune system is weak. I get sick all the time with things that usually happen to babies. I have allergies, both sinus and skin, and since I gave birth, my system just attacks me sometimes. All doctors say is that it happened as a reaction to being pregnant. My siblings don't have any of these issues. Story 35. Bald but hair absolutely everywhere else, egg-shaped head, poor beard growth, weak jaw, lots of moles, got to work extra hard for muscle, but at least I have decent height and above average penis. That's just the physical side. Laughing my ass off. Story 36. I have cystic fibrosis, asthma on top of it, major depression, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm 4 feet 10 inches, painfully flat feet, etc. Kind of mad modern society doesn't let natural selection do its thing anymore, to be honest. Story 37. Let's see here: the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, the mystery personality disorder, the metabolism, addiction problems, terrible acne, and I can't see anything. I don't want to be here. Story 38. I don't know if this counts as genetic, but I have mirror hands. When one hand moves, the other attempts to do the same thing. It's annoying at times because holding two things differently requires some concentration, like a cup and a plate. So I grab things in weird ways. Story 39. My mom is very pretty, tries to work hard but cannot because it just isn't her strength and is genetically prone to diseases. My dad is not so pretty, also hardworking, incredibly intelligent, and strong. Now guess which qualities went to me and which went to my sister.